Hey everybody, Dr. Neil Rich from the Chiro Center. I want to talk to you today just a little bit about food, because food is one of the really big issues. We talk a lot about the chiropractic lifestyle. It's an inclusive lifestyle, meaning this: if we adjust you every day of the week for the next 10 years, but you leave here and you always eat bad foods, you're always under a lot of stress, you're really still not very healthy. And so I just want to touch on a quick thing about food. I'll talk oftentimes about Mediterranean style diet, and the reason is because of the low glycemic index, and this is what I want to stress. What's hardest on our health is the foods that we eat that make our blood sugar spike, because then insulin spikes, which has a lot of ramifications. And from a very practical standpoint, what people should remember is that insulin is your primary fat storing hormone. So remember this: you don't get fat from eating fat, you get fat from eating sugar, because it makes insulin levels go up. And when insulin levels go up, you can't release fat and you're continually storing fat. So I want to give you one good example. The foods that we say that are so hard on us are breads, pasta, rice, and potatoes. So I just want to cover bread today because I think it's very confusing to people. Oftentimes people buy a bread like this and they're confused because they say, well, my bread says it's whole wheat. This one, if you notice, is even 12 grain, not 10 grain, not 11 grain, it's 12 grain. And when you look at it, it's got little oatmeal, almost types of things, all around the outside. And so it looks really whole grain, it looks really healthy. But if I flip the label and I look on the label, the number one ingredient is enriched wheat flour. Enriched is the code word, and what enriched really is it's code for it's highly processed. We've stripped out all the nutrients. We threw you a few B vitamins, and oh, by the way, it's really high glycemic index, which again means insulin levels go up. When insulin is up, because blood spikes up, right? Blood sugar. When blood sugar spikes up, insulin has to go up. You store fat. You can't release fat. If you just say, man, I'm just somebody who has to have bread, then what we really recommend is something like this. Now, this is Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel bread is you'll typically find this in the refrigerated section of the stores. This wasn't in a health food section. I bought this at Rainbow. Okay, you can get a Rainbow cup just in a refrigerated section. Ask your grocer. But the number one ingredient here is organically sprouted wheat. Sprouted wheat is totally different than processed or enriched wheat. It's got a lower glycemic index. So just a quick tip: if you're somebody who says I got to have bread, you don't want to get the blood sugar levels up. You don't want insulin levels going up. This is a good option for you. This one happens to be called Ezekiel bread. It's a sprouted grain. If you have any questions, let me know. Check with me when you're in the clinic. But keep that in mind for breads. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.